Hey, how's it going and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. We're going to be taking a look at Pink Floyd sounds and the HX effects in this video. But before we do that, I'll ask you to please like and subscribe so you can be kept up to date with everything we're doing here at The Guitar Effect. So, a while back, a musician friend of mine here in Ireland got a gig as the singer and second guitar player in a Pink Floyd tribute band. And so he's actually a drummer primarily, but he's a pretty good guitar player, and wanted to kind of know what the best way to go about single switch changing, I suppose, or like really efficient changing of multiple different sounds, using a couple of different ideas for rigs that he's talking about. So I said I would put together 4 songs from him in the HX effects that would do that for him. And disclaimer before we get into this video, I'm not a Pink Floyd fan. Like, I don't dislike Pink Floyd, but I haven't gone through my period of discovery of Pink Floyd yet. So I'm aware of The Wall and Comfortably Numb and Shine On You Crazy Diamond and the kind of, you know, mainstream songs that music fans will be aware of, but I've never deep dived into them. So as such, I don't really care that strongly about these sounds being absolutely perfect in terms of their closeness to the sounds that David Gilmour gets for these songs. I have played in a tribute band to a different band before, and I understand about how one goes about correctly executing a tribute act in a way that is good entertainment for people, because that's what tribute bands are, and simultaneously gets the song, the spirit of the song across in the best way possible. So, for example, had he been joining a Pearl Jam tribute band, I would be in the camp of being really obnoxious about, that doesn't sound like whatever Pearl Jam song it is, close enough or whatever, but I do not have that level of fandom for Pink Floyd. So I've done the best and I think close enough versions of these sounds that when he's playing as a second guitar player in this band and trying to sing and deliver the songs, the setup that he's using is a minimal fuss to him. It's also worth noting, I should say, he uses a guitar through pedals into an amp. He doesn't use channel switching. He doesn't use an effects loop. So I've set this rig up as such. So before we have a quick listen to them, I'm just going to show you how everything is set up, and then just bring you through the switching I decided to use, utilising the different capabilities of the HX effects to get this done in the most efficient way, I think. Okay, how I have chosen to do this is to have one preset per song, right? So he could have, if there's 16 songs, for example, in a set, he would have 4 of these banks. So 4 presets per bank, 1 preset per song. So he can have as many banks as he needs, and he just scrolls up and down through banks with the preset up and down switch. Then within each preset, if I go to Pigs, for example, which has the most sounds, you can see it has the snapshot, little camera icon with 3. So if I hit both preset switches together, you have Pigs verse, Pigs break, Pigs end, right? If I come out of that and go into The Wall, hit the 2 preset switches, you have intro, verse, and fuzz. And then if I go to Shine On and hit 2 switches, you've Shine Main and Shine Heavy. And then on Run Like Hell, there's actually only 1 preset, or only 1 snapshot. It's 1 sound for the whole song. So you don't even need to go in there, right? So that means that on a night, like let's just say these 4 songs are in order in the set. So it's The Wall's next, who he hits the 2 switches. Sorry, I tell a lie. He hits The Wall, he hits the 2 switches, and then his presets for the different parts of that song. So he hits 1 for the intro, 2 for the verse, and then 3 if he wants to do the distorted chords in the chorus. If that song's finished, he hits the 2 preset switches again. Shine On is next, hits that, hits the 2 of them, and he has Shine Main and Shine Heavy for the different parts of the songs, and he needs those sounds for. It's all single switches. And that was the premise of how I wanted to do this, so that he could have as little, how would I describe it, as little thought as humanly possible in choosing which sounds are needed for which song. So that's how that's done. As I go into the sounds, I'll show you how what particular effects within the HX effects I've chosen for that song. As you can see here, there's a whole pedal board, which is my HX effects pedal board, which I use for making these videos and for recording songs from home. The only 2 pedals that are in play at this point are actually the American sound and the super lead, and they are in loop 1 and loop 2 of the HX effects. And the reason is Johnny has a Zen drive, I can't remember, but he has one, I think he has a Zen drive and a Klon clone, and there is 2 different gain sounds, and he wants to use them in conjunction with the HX effect, which is great because it has 2 effects loops, so he can put those 2 pedals. I have simply replaced them for the purposes of this demo with the 2 preamp style pedals I use for going direct with the HX effects, which is the American sound and the super lead. I've set the American sound up as a boost and the super lead up as a like thick distortion rhythm sound. And they're in loop 1 and loop 2. And they're the only pedals in this that are in play. Like all the compression and all the modulation and delay effects are coming from the HX effects, which you'll see when I go into the demos of the individual presets. So, speaking of which, let's get to the demos. So, no prizes for guessing what my first sound is. It's the wall. Okay, so there's 3 snapshots in use. I went through, obviously, how I have to set up right, and they are intro, verse, and fulls. I'm not even going to demo fulls because I don't think Johnny is going to need it. There's 2 guitar players in the band, and I think the other guy is going to cover the distorted part where it goes all in all, you're just another brick in the wall, so Johnny will more than likely be going. Okay. So he's just going to use this intro and verse patches. Okay, so I'm going to turn towards the computer now to show you how the sound is set up. Okay, so here we go. So as you can see, I have the dynamic compressor in the first block. There we go. Then we have the mod, which is the courtesan flanger. I chose that because, as far as I'm aware, Gilmour is known for using an electric mistress, and this is a clone of it, or a model of it, I should say. I then have the Prince of Tone, which is called the heir apparent in this, to boost the super lead. And then I have effects loop 1, which is the American sound, effects loop 2, which is the super lead pedal. Then I have the mod chorus echo, which is the delay I've chosen for the wall, and the plate reverb, and then I have a noise gate on at the end. Okay, so there are the different sounds that make up this patch. So all the snapshots within this patch are using those settings. There's nothing really particularly. One thing is I have the threshold very low on the compressor, because when you bring it up, you can't hear it now, but when you bring it up, it does tend to get more noisy when you play, and I find that that's enough compression. Modulation, I just have the rate back on the courtesan flanger. I do have the tone up quite high, which I'm actually going to bring back a little bit. On the heir apparent, it's just acting as a boost into the front of the loop 2 for the full sound. I'll show you that in a sec. Then the delay, obviously I've got it set to dotted eighths. Feedback and feedback, I think, is about 2 repeats. Sorry. Yeah, 2 repeats. Nothing particularly of note there. I haven't particularly tampered with the speed or depth of the modulation. I do have the speed back, actually, because I like slow speed for this. I'll show you that in a sec. And the verb, again, nothing particularly of note in the way I have that set, and then just the noise gate on at the end. So here is how it sounds. So Johnny needs to do 2 things. He needs to play the intro, and then he needs to play the rhythm guitar throughout. So there's only 2 sounds. It's only going to take a second to show these. So here is the intro sound. I really don't, as I mentioned, I'm not a Pink Floyd buff, but it's in the, you get the idea, and I think the tone is right. I think the 3 notable things obviously are the compressor, keeps the picking attack really, really even. The flanger, which you can really hear there, and then obviously delay. Okay, so then he's going to go from that into the verse. So all I do is I hit switch to, turns off the delay. That's the only thing it changes, and it just goes. And that is the wall. Now, as I mentioned, there's this other sound called fuzz, or this other snapshot called fuzz, right? And what that is should Johnny want to go heavy for the chorus, he can. Instead of playing the chorus, he can go. Or as I mentioned, he can go. Sorry, he can go. Okay, so the second sound we're going to have a look at is pigs. So how I have this set up, as you can see, I have the compressor in here, but it's not on. The flanger in, but it's not on. I have the apparent, the heir apparent, which is the Prince of Tone model in, and it's on. I have the Marshall pedal, which is the Super Lead by Love pedal, on in the loop, but that is, it's an actual well pedal in the loop. I have the dynamic delay on, which I'll explain in a second. I also have a modulated delay, but I don't have it on, and I'll explain why that's there in a sec. And then I have the chamber reverb this time, because it's quite a big verby sound, this atmospheric and ambient, and then I have a noise gate at the end. So what the delay is there for is to give this dynamic thing that's there at the start of the song. So you hit this E chord like this, and you can hear the delay trailing out. Now the beautiful thing about the dynamic delay is it's dynamic, right? So it ducks when you're playing. Which is what the effect in the song is, right? So the settings there, I have the note sync to quarter note, feedback's at 36%, and then the important ones, threshold is at 45, ducking is at 29, and the mix, because it's quite a pronounced effect, is at 75%. Now, this effect, from what I could see of the live version of Pigs, drops off and it goes on to kind of a chucky rhythm guitar when the band kind of comes in and the song goes into the verse part. So what I've done is I've put the delay mix onto the expression pedal. So here you'll hear the intro, right? Okay, and that's how the intro goes with that dynamic repeat. If I then just put the expression pedal to 0 and then play the verse part. The delay is gone, and that's how you play the verse part. It's kind of chucky. So then I can just choose to bring the dynamic delay in or out as I want, or as Johnny wants with the expression pedal. So that's the verse part. Next I'm going to move on to the break. So the break goes like this. Switch over to sound, it goes. Can't tell whether it's played in the neck position or the out of phase. It's So how do you put that together? Okay, so back over to the editor. So in this is Pig's Break, it's called. The compressor's on, as you can really hear there, I think, when I hit the guitar hard. The flanger's on, the air apparent is off, the distortion pedal is off, the love pedal, keep forgetting the name of super lead. Then the delay, the ducking delay is off, but now this mod chorus echoes on. It's real quick as well. Sorry. It's just really short and really quick, and just adds a bit of atmosphere. You can just hear it chuckling in the background there. And then there is the same chamber reverb as there was in the intro part, and that is the break. It's a really cool guitar part, actually. I really like it. In fact, I must say, as a person, as I mentioned, who's not a massive Pink Floyd fan, I've really enjoyed discovering at least one of their more obscure songs, and really, really cool tune, really well written, and really enjoyable to learn. Then at the end, it goes into the same thing really as the beginning, and the only difference here is the ducking delay is off, the mod delay is on, and the air apparent is on with the Marshall, and it sounds like this. And that's just very, very similar to the Pig's verse sound, except it's got the air apparent on to make it a bit more powerful. And that's it. That is Pigs. Okay, so the third song is Shine On You Crazy Diamond. And just to go through how I've set the sound up, obviously this is a very, very well-known song with a very well-known riff. It's not particularly hard to achieve either. So the first thing is the compressor. This time it's threshold. The ratio and attack, by the way, and stuff, I never change. It's just a threshold to see how much compression is going on. Sometimes a mix as well, I can bring back a little bit if I want to feel it less compressed. This on threshold is at minus 37 dB. I'll come to the mod in a minute. The American sound is on in loop 1. The love pedal super lead is off. And then there is a delay here again, which is the Adriatic delay this time. And here's the repeats. Okay, so this is a modulated delay, obviously. It's in quarter notes sync. The feedback is like 3 repeats. And I haven't really tweaked any of the other parameters. Then there is a glitz reverb, which actually I think is my favorite reverb on the HX effects. I use it a lot. And then a noise gate again at the end. Okay, so back to the mod, which is a defining characteristic of this sound for me anyway. So I did a bit of research. As I mentioned again, I'll just say it again, I'm not a massive Pink Floyd like aficionado. The more I play, the more I kind of get into the idea of what it is they were doing. I really appreciate it, but I'm relatively new to it, I suppose I'd say. As I mentioned, this is purely a functional exercise to show how good the HX effects is at fulfilling this kind of role for someone. And I did a bit of research about what kind of mod it is. It's always sounded like a phaser to me, and specifically a Phase 90. It has a specific type of chewy characteristic that a Phase 90 has in my mind. Like I said, I'm not a nut. But I've also seen people say it's a rotary cab and seen people say it's a univibe. To me, it's pretty much unmistakably a phaser. So I've gone with a phaser, and I've gone with a Phase 90, and the only real significant thing is I have the rate backed off, so it's quite slow. So you can see the sweep, and it's quite slow there, right? On the neck pickup, American sound is on, as I mentioned, and is the compressor on? Yeah, the compressor's on too. And here's how it sounds. And that's my shine on sound. There's a shine heavy here where I think the super lead comes in, so. I don't really see that ever being needed for the rhythm guitar part. It's just the whole thing works pretty well for me and works nicely for chords. And that is Shine On. Okay, so the last song that Johnny asked me to look at was Run Like Hell. And I must say, of all the songs I've enjoyed learning and creating the sounds for this one the most. Really love this tune, it's brilliant. So, this is another dotted 8 affair. It's a lot faster actually than the Wall, which is worth noting. And so here's how I have the sound set up. So again, we have the all-important compressor here. We're using the Kinky comp this time. Sensitivity is about halfway. And the mix is at 70%. I brought the mix back because I wanted to get more of the kind of organic sound of the guitar through. There's no mod on here. The American sound is on, but the Love pedal super lead is off. Then you have a Elephant Man, Memory Man style delay. I have another delay, but it's not on, which is the mod chorus echo. And then I have the chamber reverb and a noise gate. Here's what it sounds like. Okay. And here's the part. Or something like that. So that's, again, the only sound that I have for this song for Johnny, and I think it's the only one he would need in this song. So yeah, that's Run Like Hell. So there you go. That is how I went about creating 4 different songs and then snapshots within those 4 songs for my mate Johnny, who's going to be singing with a Pearl Jam Pink Floyd tribute band. And I think that he can have the sounds pre-programmed and ready before the gig, not have to worry about them, and then just, it's got minimal switching for him to switch both between presets on a song by song basis and then to utilize the different sounds that he needs for those songs. And as I've said, I've purposely tried to keep this as simple as humanly possible with the minimum variation. I mean, the only one thing that's outside of the hitting switches or of either songs or snapshots is just using the expression pedal in the Wall. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sure I'm going to get all sorts of abuse in the comments about my sounds not being close enough to David Gilmour sounds, and also about the absence of lead sounds. It's worth highlighting that he won't be playing any of the solos in these songs. They have a different guitar player that does that. And yes, I know in Pink Floyd, Dave Gilmour plays all the solos. I get that. I don't care. This is a practical application. I'm not a Pink Floyd nut, and so therefore I'm not particularly concerned with the sounds being exactly right. It's a question of creating the right atmosphere in the room and allowing Johnny to deliver the vocal and front the band in a way that's effective. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again soon in another video. Bye bye.